Stocks and cryptocurrencies have been rallying lately. A lot of people say that those assets are overextended and we are now ready for a correction. But as you know, when it comes to trading, I'm neither paying attention to fundamental analysis, I'm not looking at market sentiment, and I'm also not paying attention to other people's opinion. I'm just looking at the chart because this tells you everything which you need in order to make your trading decisions. It's literally that simple. And if we're taking a look at charts, and let's start with the Nasdaq right here first. If we're taking a look at charts, the situation is pretty clear. Nasdaq, as you all know, tracks the performance of the major technology stocks, and you can see the following. Starting in 2023, the Nasdaq created a significant rally towards the upside, plus 70%, which is quite a lot considering that it was roughly only 1 year. So yes, 70% is a lot. If we're drawing simple support and resistance levels, you can see that on the Nasdaq we are having this beautiful bullish trend line. Multiple touch points in the past, always rejecting towards the upside. And again, 2023 we had a touch, we had bullish confirmation on the smaller time frames, and from here we started this continuation towards the upside. On the other side, we're of course also having a parallel upper resistance trend line, where you can see multiple times in the past we had rejection towards the downside. We had rejection all the way back in 2015, a second rejection, third rejection, fourth rejection, then we broke back below the trend line, came back to retest and rejected it towards the downside. And at the moment the Nasdaq is hugging this upper resistance trend line. And the third support and resistance level which you need, in my opinion, is this horizontal level right here, which is roughly at this psychological $16,000 level. This was previous resistance a first time. From here we started this bear market, and then it was turned short-term resistance a second time. Over the past 4 months, of course, the Nasdaq has been breaking above this previous resistance. So simple concept, previous resistance, if we break it towards the upside, is turned support. If we zoom in a little bit, as I mentioned, you can see that the Nasdaq is retesting previous resistance, and considering that we saw a rally of plus 70% without any real correction at all, I do expect a short-term pullback, at least to retest this previous resistance zone, which at that point is acting as support. And then if we're starting to reverse on the smaller time frames, then from here we could certainly see more continuation towards the upside, with the targets again being this previous resistance of the channel. There could also be the possibility that we will break below this support and come back all the way to this lower support trend line, which would then perfectly line up with this previous support, which would once again be acting as support. And if we get a retracement all the way to down here, which means a pullback of roughly 20%, then we will certainly be buying more inside of the elite program. So far, as you can see, when it comes to the Nasdaq, I'm a little bit more bearish than bullish, but on the smaller time frames, we are still in a significantly bullish market. So no reason to go short now. Just keep in mind that we are retesting resistance and we might see a pullback. The second index which I want you to take a look at is the Dow Jones, because of course in the Dow Jones you have the performance of the major value stocks. In the Nasdaq, you have the performance of the major growth stocks. And also the Dow Jones right here, we had a significant rally. You can see a rally of 30%, which again, when it comes to value stocks, is quite a lot. Also recently right here, we had a beautiful triangle breakout. We had resistance a first time at this $36,000 level. Resistance a first time, resistance a second time. Over the past 4 months, breakout towards the upside. And we also had this ascending trend line. And of course, this is a simple triangle formation. After a triangle formation, most of the time what happens is that we get a pullback back to the previous resistance, which at that point should be acting as support. Same scenario as on the Nasdaq. And if we get this pullback and some bullish confirmation on the smaller time frames, we will have a cluster of support coming in at this $36,000 level. We will then be simply looking for continuation plays towards the upside inside of the elite program. It's that simple. At the moment, we're still in a lot of trades. We already took partial profits, but there could also be the possibility that we will never see a pullback and the Dow Jones just keeps ripping and ripping and ripping towards the upside. And of course, also then we want to capitalize. That's it for indices. So the Nasdaq is rather a little bit more bearish, but still on the smaller timeframes we are certainly bullish. The Dow Jones on the smaller timeframes is of course also extremely bullish, but I do expect a short-term pullback and then the continuation towards the upside. And let's take a quick look at cryptocurrencies. Let's start with Bitcoin, because also there a lot of people say that Bitcoin is overextended. We might see a pullback back to this $30,000 level. I don't know, but the charts are pretty obvious. I mean, on Bitcoin right here, we had a rally of 220%. First of all, if a market is melting towards the upside like that, you never want to short. You never want to short into a bullish market. You can see that we are approaching the previous all-time highs roughly at this $60,000 level. And also inside of the elite program, we will probably soon take partial profits because we bought Bitcoin literally all the way down at this $17,000 to $20,000 level. It was a simple break and retest of the previous cycle high with bullish confirmation on the smaller time frames. We also had this trend line coming in right there. And there might certainly be the possibility that we will see another retracement back to the trend line. Also here, we will then have a cluster of support coming in at this $32,000 level. And then we will be looking for continuation plays towards the upside. Until then, Bitcoin is extremely bullish. And from a monthly perspective, we might also just see more continuation towards the upside, a break above the previous all-time high, and just another insane rally. If we're looking at the previous cycle, quickly you can see that this was a rally of 1,500%. Let's just say this time it's a rally of 700%, so 50% of the previous rally. You can see that we would still have a price target of roughly 140,000 US dollars. You never want to get short when we're in an extremely bullish market like Bitcoin is right now. And then let's take a look at Ethereum last but not least. You can see also Ethereum is quite strong. Not as strong as Bitcoin because Bitcoin is literally outperforming everything at the moment. But we also bought Bitcoin after Ethereum actually after a retest of this previous cycle high, roughly at this $1,000 level. Previous resistance, after the break towards the upside, it was turned support. And then you can see also here we had a simple triangle breakout. We had this short-term resistance there. We had an ascending trend line here. We had the triangle breakout. We might see another pullback. It basically almost looks like the Dow Jones. We might see a pullback back to the previous breakout area and then continuation towards the upside. But so far, Ethereum is extremely, extremely bullish. You never want to short such a bullish market. And there could also be the possibility that we will just keep rallying towards the upside to retest the previous all-time highs and eventually break above and create another bullish cycle. It's literally that simple. So even a lot of people say that we will see a correction. You can see that those charts are overall still looking bullish. The overall trend is towards the upside and there is no reason at all for you to short if we're in a bullish market. Again, if you want to follow along with all the trades I'm taking, you can go ahead and join the elite program and also sign up for my free trading newsletter. I also break down trade ideas and markets in there. If you have any questions regarding this video, just leave them in the comment section down below. I'll see you next week, of course, as always, and keep your long-term vision.